Hello, my most amazing artists. This is Mrs. Donner, and today we are going to explore fun things to do with boxes. I had a special request from a student, and he asked if I could show him my ideas on how to turn a box into a TV. And it started me thinking. He made an excellent TV box and sent me a video and pictures of it. And I thought, you know what? We could do something and we don't have to cut it necessarily. We could take it and we could paint it or cover it with paper. Now, if you don't have any paper at home that you think might cover a box, I'll bet you do. I'll bet you have some Christmas paper somewhere. And you could take Christmas paper and use this side. So you're covering the box with the white side of the Christmas paper. Now, back to the paint part. All right, so I came up with the idea of using chalk paint on boxes. And with the chalk paint, the idea is that you can draw on the boxes and you could change the scene if you needed to. So you can wipe that off and redo it. You can also do it permanently with all kinds of different colors. This was just the first thing I could think of. And so I painted a flat box and I decided to make it into a Pokemon TV. Now, the cool thing about this is after I decorated it with Charmander, I discovered with a wet paper towel that I could change things out, and I could use a wet Q-tip to get rid of the mistakes around the edges, which I thought was a lot of fun. So, first things first. This is Charmander on TV, and it is Pokemon TV. And it's just an ordinary box. And the chalk paint, the only thing you need for chalk paint is some kind of regular household paint, which I happen to have black paint at home because that's the way I roll, and 1/3 of a cup of plaster of Paris. Now, plaster of Paris is available at Walmart, Ace Hardware, Lowe's, any home improvement place. And basically, I think plaster of Paris is ground up rocks. I honestly, I don't really know. So you take 1/3 of a cup, and by the way, it's not very expensive. It's a box of it is it's under $6. I know that. Now, you could also go on Amazon and get a box. So I'm taking my 1/3 of a cup of plaster of Paris, and I'm going to mix it to smooth it out with, guess what? I have a plastic fork from Takeout. So we're good on that. I'm going to add a little bit of water. And this is not too much. What you want to do is you want to try to get the lumps out of it before you add the paint to it. Now, it's kind of the consistency of, well, right now it has some lumps in it. I'm not as picky about using this homemade chalk paint on the cardboard box as I am if I'm going to make this for a piece of furniture, which, by the way, you can do. The cool thing about chalk paint is it does not require the wood to be prepped at all. So, for example, if you have an old chair and you want it to be painted and you don't want to strip it down and sand it and maybe take the finish off of it first, blah, 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 all that good stuff, all you have to do is use chalk paint. So we're going to take this a little bit at a time. This is a cup that I keep for this specific purpose, and it is in my garage on my counter. And instead of showing you all this process, you mix this up until the plaster of Paris becomes one with the paint. And in order to save this, get some kind of a jar and pour it into a jar. Or it can even be something as simple as if you're going to paint one layer on something and you want to use it again later, you can take a baggie and put the whole cup in the baggie. All this stuff has to be done with a grown-up, by the way. I don't want to hear any chalk paint spills on anybody's beautiful furniture. In fact, this is a garage experiment. I think this is some kind of an experience that you need to share with your older brothers or sisters in the garage or out in the driveway. So this is the chalk paint, and this is some leftover. Now I use a sponge brush because the chalk paint's pretty, it's very important that you don't spill this on something important. So all these little touch-ups on the edges, I'll show you. And I could start painting the back of it, which would be just groovy. I just wanted to show you that this was indeed a box. So that is our TV box today. Now this is, like I said, this is something that you can wipe off and you can draw something else on it later, within minutes actually. So today we did a Pokemon TV box and possibly a box for somebody that you find in the yard who wants to live in the box. Or you could create little creatures to put in the box. Now, this is a special box, and it is an old cigar box. And I painted that with the chalk paint. And with the chalk paint, it is also, it has the ability to be written on and erased off of. You can do all kinds of fun things with chalk paint. So 1/3 cup plaster of Paris, and I keep my plaster of Paris in a container that I've had it in for a long time, so I can't show you. This is an old Play-Doh container. It's just, I showed you it was a white powder, and any color paint that you have. You don't have to go out and buy new paint. Darker the better, because then you can chalk over it and it'll just make it easier. So that's our fun thing for today. I hope that you guys enjoy it, and I want to see some results. I want to see any kind of boxes or anything that you've done that required some chalk paint to cover up. So remember to stay creative. Re-add the fingers there. Stay creative and go outside and enjoy yourself.